Hey y'all, Nico here. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I'm Nico. Today's yoga pose tutorial is on Ustrasana, also known as Camel pose. Camel pose is great for opening up the hips and stretching deep into your hip flexors. It's great for strengthening the back and therefore improving your posture and alleviating lower back pain and kind of lengthening and stretching your vertebra as well. So let's get started in a kneeling position. Now, if it's hard for you to kneel on your yoga mat, you can always fold your yoga mat in half. Just fold it a couple times, bring in some cushion underneath your knees. And so the version we're going to do is where our hands will come back to our heels. Sometimes people extend their arms back, and that's nice too. But for this tutorial, we're just going to be reaching our hands back to our heels. So first we want to make sure our hips are over our knees and kind of thinking about rounding your tailbone down and engaging your core a little bit, just to make sure you're nice and strong here and you have the proper alignment so that your back isn't, having that dip in it. So we're just lining ourselves up here. And just place your hands on your ribs because we're gonna lift through the ribs. So placing your hands here will just help you to feel that lifting motion. And we want to lift our chest up towards the ceiling. So let's place our hands on our ribs and just lift, opening our chest up towards the ceiling. Ribs are lifted, trying to keep those hips over those knees as much as we can. And then we're going to let our hands come back until we feel our heels. So lifting through the chest, press those hips forward. Good. We don't want to slant too much in those thighs as mentioned before, and you can let the head fall back, or you can keep the chin tucked if that's uncomfortable on your neck. So pressing those hips forward, chest is open, letting the head fall back or tucking the chin. And then to come out of it, we're just using our ab muscles to come back to that original kneeling position. Now from here, I'm gonna show you a couple modifications. And remember, you can counteract your camel pose by just coming down to a child's pose for a moment, because camel pose is a back bend. So a forward fold is how we can counteract that. So for a first modification, go ahead and grab 2 blocks or 2 books. And then you can kind of use these to reach your hands back instead of having to reach your heels if reaching your heels is a bit difficult. My back isn't the most flexible, so this is a nice modification if you don't have the most flexible back. Hips are over our knees, remembering to round our tailbone down a little bit, making our body nice and straight. Your hands can come to the blocks instead of all the way back to your heels. Lifting the ribs, opening the chest up towards the ceiling, letting that head fall back, or chin is tucked. Now, if this is still a big no for you, you could do one of my favorite versions. My forearms just rest on my lower back. I let my shoulders roll back a bit and let my chin come up towards the sky. This is how I like to modify. Then coming back to neutral. And again, there are different ways to do camel pose. So you can do hands back to the heels. You can do arms extended back. Or you can do one arm at a time. This isn't my favorite. Just because I'm still working on my back flexibility. And again, remember, you can counteract by coming down to a child's pose. So hopefully this camel pose or Ustrasana pose was informational for you. Hopefully it helped you with some tips on how to get into camel pose. If you have any more questions about camel pose, feel free to leave them down in the comment box. I'm happy to answer them. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Peace and love.